Another episode of the Mets'd podcast. Another not fun one. Definitely not great, as we got smacked in Game 3 of the Rockies series to lose some more baseball games. James, I'm not going to do the intro again, but what are we feeling?
No, it's really bad. Everything's just not going well right now. They're not really hitting great. The bats did come alive a little bit in Game 3 of the series, which was nice to see with the lineup shake-up, but the starting pitching, just like all year, hasn't been there. It's really starting to pile up now on these bullpen guys, and every single day it's 4 innings, 4 2/3, maybe 5. It's really bad. Everything's really bad.
No, it's not been good baseball the last 2 weeks, essentially. Now I think it's been about 13, 14 games.
Ironically, since the West Coast trip, that was when they play well, and then they come back to the rest of the country, and it's bad.
Yeah, it was that Sunday night baseball game against the Giants, because even they were still in that one even.
Yeah.
And since then, there just really hasn't been a whole lot of great baseball played from a team that should be playing a lot better. I said this last episode too. I don't think the team's bad by any means, but they're definitely playing bad baseball right now.
And the mood in the press conference after the game, just watching a few minutes now, is still overwhelmingly we literally just have to play better. There's no excuses. There's definitely not a lack of effort. It's just these are good baseball players who need to play baseball better.
And I think you just look up and down at the stats, at the performances. Like you said, it is just to simply play better. You play better, you're going to win more games. They did not play better than the Rockies in this series, especially in Game 3. Things got blown out of control. It was not a great weekend to be a Mets fan. Let's be honest.
No, it wasn't really. And you can start feeling the animosity. The Boo Birds came out on Sunday at Citi Field. The park was half empty on Friday night, a nice night. Kodai Senga on the mound. People people on Twitter are getting really angry. Other analysts who don't really know what they're talking about are getting really angry. It's just I don't know. It's bad. Things are not good.
It's weird vibes. Weird vibes for a team that had such good vibes last year. And I feel like that's a big thing. I mean, Lindor's a big smile guy, always happy, always vibing. I don't think the players necessarily have bad vibes. You don't get that feeling at all by any means.
It's not bad vibes, but it definitely doesn't feel like it felt. I don't know. Last year, we just passed the 1-year anniversary of the Mets scoring 7 runs in 9th inning to beat the Phillies. Oof. And that came just 1 week after the Mets scored 5 runs in 9th inning to beat the Cardinals. Those both happened last week of April, first week of May in 2022. And that's when you kind of felt, this Mets team has something different. And maybe they were just maybe it's just the burden of expectations. Maybe it's a team coming off an 80-win season rather than a 100-win season. So you get hot early, you feel a little better, you play a little lighter, and things are a little easier. And now all you keep hearing is about the 100 wins, 101 wins, 101 wins, 101 wins, and that's feeling like a bit of a burden for this roster right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I really I keep beating a dead horse here, but it really is just play better. It simply is just play better, and I think it really does start on the pitching side. We just have to get more out of the starting pitching for this team to be successful. I think you looked at the numbers about what the starting pitching's done this year. It's not been great. I mean, we can't even sugarcoat it in the slightest. I think everybody would agree, including the pitchers. They want to pitch better. Even Max Scherzer said it too when he had a rough start. He's I have to be better for this team, and if this team wants to be successful, we need to get more of our starting pitchers.
No, for sure. I mean, we've been beating this drum all season, but it's obvious series after series, game after game. Mets starting pitchers have only completed 6 innings 6 times this year. Kodai Senga Friday night became the first Met to complete 6 innings twice in the season.
The one game we won?
Yeah, the one game we won this series. Oh my God, it makes sense. And that was on May 5th. The Mets didn't have a starting pitcher complete 6 innings from April 21st until May 5th. The Joey Lucchesi start in San Francisco until this Friday, Kodai Senga against the Rockies. No Met completed 6 innings in between that. And of course, this has been exacerbated by the fact that Max Scherzer was injured and then suspended, and now he's been less effective. Justin Verlander was injured for the first month of the season. David Peterson's not rolled over success from 2022. Tyler McGill just looks a little bit off whenever he's out there. It's just Carlos Carrasco's hurt.
No Quintana.
Jose Quintana hasn't thrown a pitch. Trevor Williams isn't here. Every single little thing that has gone wrong, his pitching staff have. And that 6 innings number, 375 pitchers had completed 6 innings in Major League Baseball heading into Sunday. And the Mets have only done it 6 times. It's ridiculous. Mets starting pitchers have only thrown 166 innings this year altogether. That's the 5th fewest in all of baseball. And the team with the fewest, Tampa Bay Rays, employ an opener 1 day a week, sometimes 2 days a week. So those starting pitching numbers are skewed. So realistically, Mets starting pitchers have thrown the 4th fewest innings in the entire league. And the teams with less are the Marlins, which is a little surprising.
Yeah,
they kind of have a bit of a deep rotation. The Oakland Athletics, the Colorado Rockies, which hurts a little bit more right now.
It's a real punch.
And the Cincinnati Reds.
Well, they didn't even get good starting pitching in the game today either.
No.
And Ryan Feltner was not very good. And I think that's the narrative with what's going on with the Mets, too, I think is a little bit all over the place, like you mentioned a little earlier online, or if you're at the stadium or whatever it is. People talking about the offense. I mean, we saw the lineup change today, which was nice. And I think it showed that the lineup was a little more cohesive based on how it was. That first inning was great. We were feeling awesome. And it ended weirdly because Vogelback got tagged out, getting bat picked on that rounding of second. But like relatively speaking, that first inning went about as well as it could have, considering like how the Mets had been starting games. We haven't been scoring a lot of runs in the first inning this year in general.
Yeah, besides the Randall Grichuk moonshot on the other side of it. But also you really look at where this Mets team was last year and why they were so successful. At top of the order and scoring in the first inning was a huge reason for it. And John shot us with a stat right before we start here. The Mets are, I believe, 15-2 when scoring first this year. You said that right, John?
13-2 this year.
13-2, 15 total times.
Yeah.
They have scored first, which 15 times you scored first in 33 games it is now. That doesn't feel like enough.
No.
That sucks.
No.
And you look back again, last year in the first inning, the Mets slash line was 275, 358, 423, scoring first in 60% of their games, plus 17 run differential in the first inning. This year, the first inning slash line is 198, 308, 246. 246 slugging percentage in the first inning.
Yeah, it's a little rough.
It's almost been like no first inning home runs.
Yeah, I mean,
0.26 runs per game, only scoring first, like I just said, 43% of the time, and a minus 19 run differential.
Yeah.
That's nearly a 40 run difference in the Mets' first innings between last year and this year so far.
No, 100%. And it is weird, too, because, again, I actually don't think the offense is the problem, and I'm sure some of you are
not.
rolling your eyes. I'm sure a lot of people hated that I said that, but there's a stat that came from Twitter. I'm going to give this guy credit, Mike5_5_5. He tweeted out, Mets have 18 games this season where they've scored at least 5 runs. Only the Red Sox, Rays, Orioles, Dodgers, Braves, and Rangers have more. So it's not necessarily all on the offense. It's a combination of, it feels like when we get good pitching, the offense maybe isn't as sharp. When we get good hitting, the pitching isn't as sharp. Something's just not lining up right now, and I'm not quite sure why, but it feels like we haven't really had like a streak of like playing complete baseball in a minute.
I also want to shout out a friend of the podcast, Meek Phil, because he tweeted about this as well. Through 35 games this year and last year, this Mets team has more home runs, a higher slugging percentage, only 3 fewer runs scored, and an on-base percentage that's the same through 2 decimal points. Just
Really?
0.004 lower. Yeah. So
That's
again,
shocking,
no,
actually.
but last year the starting pitching was so consistent.
Yeah.
Week after week, series over series, 6 innings, 7 innings, 6 innings, 5 2/3, 2 earned runs, 3 earned runs. Like that was the big difference last year. And basically what this Mets team kind of has is a lineup that's probably slightly above average.
Yes.
And at its peak, well above average. At its worst, like a little bit below average. And that looks really good when you're pitching really well every single day, when you're only giving up 2, 3, 4 runs a game. But when you're not, the Mets starting pitching ERA this year, you want to guess the Mets starting pitching ERA this year?
I really don't want to.
And this was heading into the day on Sunday.
I don't want to guess it. Just tell me.
5.3.
Yeah, it's not where we would like to be
No.
for a team that is, with World Series aspirations.
And that's the 8th worst in all of baseball. And it's not really that much better if you look at their estimators, like their FIP or XFIP or Sierra. It's just not. It's not good.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, even the bullpen up until today, and that's a little bit on, like, Jimmy Akabonis came in the 5th, faced the middle of the order. Like, sometimes you're just going to get hit a little bit. But the bullpen, even for the most part, has been very good, has been very solid.
I think this Mets team would be in significantly worse shape if this bullpen hasn't been so good early on in the season. But also in all leverage spots, like the medium leverage guys have been good. Drew Smith has been really good. John Curtis has been up and down. He struggled a little bit more recently, started well. My guy Brigham still looks good. Like these middle relievers, Brooke Ridley was decent while he was healthy, and he had the bad outing before he got hurt.
Robertson.
Yeah, I was going to get the high leverage. Robertson and Ottavino have both been pretty awesome. I mentioned Drew Smith already. Like these bullpen guys have been good. Steven Nagosic actually looked good on Saturday till he gave up that home run, which is very unfortunate because he is a guy who looks like has maybe gotten a little bit better this year. And these guys are really, really patching it together because the Mets starting pitcher average outing is less than 5 innings right now.
For sure, yeah.
It's one of the few teams in baseball where that's true, and it's really, really, really hard to consistently win baseball games like that.
Yeah, because it just adds on to more guys that now need to throw innings out of the pen, like Jimmy Akabonis and Tommy Hunter, who play their role on this team, but you don't want them getting the bulk of the innings that should be going to the starting pitching. And right now, those guys are throwing a lot more than one they're probably expecting or two accustomed to.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, a lot of this is just the fact that you look up and down the roster, like the Mets player development and scouting in terms of position players over the last decade is some of the best in baseball.
It's been incredible,
this team,
actually.
The amount of homegrown talent that is on this team and contributing every single day is amazing. But then you look in the pitching side, and right now it's Peterson and McGill were the homegrown guys who we need something out of this year, and so far we haven't gotten it. And the fact that some pitchers we have are very expensive, and not having the ones that are cheap to supplement them and give the innings, it's really difficult to find the balance right now. And we've talked about this over the last few years, doing this podcast. So you kind of need to make sure you have pitching a year in advance a lot of times. And you saw that when the Mets traded for Marcus Stroman a few years ago because they would have him for the next year. You saw that with the Bass trade. He had the option. He signed elsewhere. That's okay. But you're still thinking year over year, year over year, year over year. Same with the Taiwan signing. Good 2-year deal. He gave you cheap endings for 2 years. And just felt like that you kind of were trying to get that with Carrasco, but he's been injured. You tried to get that with Quintana. He's been injured. You lose all of what you thought were going to be reliable innings, and now it's where do you find them?
Yeah, it's been a little bit of bad luck on top of poor performance.
Yeah.
I mean, I think can't really sugarcoat it. They've not performed as well as they should, and I think that if you were saying that what they were, I think we'd be lying to you guys.
No, and it's like, and we talked about it last episode. I want to say it again. The last 4 pennant winners in the National League.
Oh, people are going to hate you for saying this.
I'm going to say it. The Phillies 2022, the Braves in 2021. 2020 does not count because we only play 27% of a season.
Yeah.
The Washington Nationals 2019 and the Los Angeles Dodgers 2018. All 4 of those teams were below 500 on May 7th of their respective years. They won the pennant.
Yeah.
So having a record that's below slightly, even if it was a few games below 500 at this point in the year, by no means puts you out of contention in Major League Baseball. And even more so in those years, there's more playoff teams now.
Yes.
And you can kind of look around the National League and you can see like who we have to beat to actually get these playoff spots. It's the Phillies, it's the Pirates, it's the Diamondbacks, it's, I guess, the Brewers. We already got, they got us. Yeah. I guess, yeah. Who else?
Well, you said all the West teams, right?
Yeah, I said Dodgers, I guess, technically, but they look like they're going to take the division now. The Padres.
Maybe the Cubs.
We already even have series wins against the Padres and the Dodgers.
Yeah, two good teams. So that's where it's confusing. I'm sure as a Mets fan, we do get those high highs of like we beat these good teams when we play them. Granted, we didn't beat the Braves in that series, but like there were a bunch of winnable games.
Those are weird
a
games
break
too.
here or there could have been ours. But then like these series, and it's really bringing back a lot of memories of September, unfortunately. But
and I tweeted that the other day
Yeah.
after the Tigers game. It does just feel the energy. It's just, I don't know.
something like we've got the bad teams again in our schedule because let's be honest, I mean, you look at the Tigers and the Rockies and the Nationals and the Reds coming up and even the Giants before that, like these are not the strong teams in baseball. These are the teams that you look at the schedule and this is obviously like the worst thing that you could probably ever do, but you count those as wins. Like when you're looking at the schedule, building out what you think the Mets could do, you're like, okay, they're going to take 2 of 3 from this team. They're going to take 2 of 3 for that team. Maybe to sweep.
And we're talking about us here, fans. You know,
Yeah,
Mark
yeah,
and
of
James.
course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're not talking about and like even every single time we have these series, all the players and the coaches are like, no, that's not how we think about them. And I believe them as I think about them. But
Yes.
it is just annoying. Consistently, you look at the schedule and they're like, all right, I want to beat this team. We have better roster than this team. We are better put together than this team, and they continue to beat us.
And even looking forward, it's like we have the Reds and the Nationals coming up too.
It's terrifying.
It's this could have felt so very different if we did get the performance that we were hoping for. We haven't, so it makes everybody feel very uneasy, especially with, like you said, those high expectations coming into the year. I don't know. By no means is the season over. Like we're never going to go there on May 7th, and you gave your reasoning why. There's so much baseball left, but something does need to change, and there does need to be better play by the team, and I think everybody would agree on that.
A lot. And again, it's really everyone wants to find the fix. Like everyone online is like trying to do it to like cope with themselves. Like make this happen, call this guy up, change this. And it's just really, that's just not how baseball works. Like it's a team. It's the whole reason it's a team. It's gotta be cohesive. Guys gotta be playing together at the same time. Guys have to be in line, in check. Like you really need to, this is a game that's like so emotional, but so devoid of emotion at the same time.
And it's
gotta
also
be so hard to be stuck in a streak
It's also
like this.
so individual, yet like so team heavy. Like, cause like, especially the Mets, I don't know, maybe the last few years you guys can tell me how you feel about this too, but like I feel like when they're like vibing and one guy's hitting, everybody's hitting.
Yeah.
But then like when we go cold or like even on the pitching side now, like the pitchers are struggling to go deep into the games. Now everybody's struggling to go into games. It just seems like this team is like very much like a cohesive bunch and they kind of ride with each other. Like the tide rises and falls with everybody.
And that also, we've talked about this, is a function of the way the Mets lineup is constructed based on the fact that there's not as many power hitters as probably most other teams are constructed in modern baseball. So you do need more guys literally to be hitting well at the same time, to score more runs. That's part of it. And just we're in a 2-week stretch right now while the team's playing poorly, while Pete Alonso and Francisco Lindor just happen to be cold. Like it's not, these things aren't accidental. It's harder to score runs when your 2 best hitters are not playing as well. That'd be true for any team in baseball. And even just looking again at like teams' offensive stats this year, the Mets have the same amount of runs as the Padres and Phillies.
Yeah.
No one go out and say those are bad offenses.
Nobody
like,
would
really
say
wouldn't.
that, yeah.
For some reason, the Mets are, and I don't really get it.
Well, the Mets are to people who think that.
Yeah,
Yes.
if you watch every day, you get more frustrated by it, of course. But it's just like I just can't wrap my mind around the fact that the offense appears to be a problem. Like it's all the starting pitching.
I think there's also two lessons to be taken from this series. Number one, the Colorado Rockies are Austin Gomber on Saturday, who had a disastrous start to the year.
Oh, yeah.
He's been really good in his last 3 starts. And today, Ryan Feltner, the Mets got to him, but Feltner had been very good as well. So that's number one, like tip your cap before coming to Citi Field.
Oh, the Rockies beat us.
But they also swept the Brewers just now, and that's a playoff hopeful that swept the Mets back in early April. So tip your cap. The Rockies came in, they took 2 or 3, they played good ball.
And you hate for the copium, but the Tigers just won 2 out of 3 against the Cardinals too, including wins on Friday. The Tigers broke off a 5-game winning streak. Like I don't believe it. Like these teams, I still think we're better than the teams. We should have beaten them, but like it's early season baseball. Like,
really early
how
season
often do you
baseball.
look at the standings in the middle of May and see something that's not even true at the end of the year?
And like, again, not to rub salt in Mets fans' wounds, but we've seen the standings later in the year, and we know that they don't matter. So I don't know. Like, is there something to take stock in with what's been going on? Like, yeah, of course we need to perform better. The pitching needs to give us more length. I think there's like, at least it seems like there's a way to fix this. It's not like an unfixable thing where it's like, play better, get more length from the pitching, things should start to fall into place.
Yeah, there's 120 plus games left in the season. It literally just starts with Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer just doing what they've always done. Yeah, as long as those guys just pitch every fifth day and pitch well, then this thing will probably fall into place much easier than it seems. Like,
Which I apologize. I'm sure some of you are like screaming at us, like,
No,
go
for sure.
crazy, go nuts, go like.
we were never going to do that. That's not how it's going to go.
We've never been those kind of guys. We've always
No.
been like very like sane of like, hey, listen, like it's a long season. If we start losing our mind and our hair May 7th, it's going to be a really, really long year.
And again, in the devil's advocate of that, both seasons we've done this podcast before this year, the Mets have actually had really good Aprils.
Yes,
and Mays.
great
This
Aprils
is unique.
and
I mean,
Mays.
the Mets always seem to have really good Aprils. Like in the history of this franchise, we always seem to have a good April. And
Yeah.
what has it done? What has it ever served
It's
us?
not really done anything in my lifetime.
Like, maybe it's a good thing this team's actually getting some adversity. Last year, they went 5 straight months without even a stitch of adversity. And
Yeah.
it was easy. And it was every single day was a win. Every single series was a win. Everyone pitched well. You hit well when you need to. Timely hitting. RISP. Remember RISP? How
What
easy
is
was that
RISP?
last
Yeah,
year?
my God.
But, like, I don't know. Like sometimes it's not going to be linear. That's not how it works. Sometimes you got to go up and down. Maybe you got to go down first to go up. I don't know. I'm just trying to look for answers.
yeah, we are trying to look for answers. I don't know. Hopefully, this next series against the Reds, we get some more.
Vito's laughing.
We get a few more. Yeah, Vito's having fun with this. This is a weird
I don't know what to
episode.
say.
It's a weird episode for everybody. Like we are so conditioned to like having so many great things to talk about.
It was so easy last
so
year.
easy last year. Now it's like when they're struggling, like it's tough.
We had 2 bad series last year. One, we did a whole episode about Juju and Voodoo.
Yeah.
In the control room. It's
a great episode.
And the other one was just very obviously really bad.
Yeah.
So we just like sat here and sulked, and then we like, oh, and then we had only like 3 more episodes after that, so it wasn't even a big deal. But
Let me ask you a question. What was a common theme that you heard from both Met fans and fans of other teams last year when the Mets were on their way to 101 wins?
I mean, I feel like from Met fans, we all were like, "Oh my God, this is the year! Like this is the team."
I feel like more than that though was more about the fact that the team like had like this persistence, like they wouldn't let you up. You know what I mean? Like it
Yeah.
always like over again. You look at the next day, another good pitcher was on the mound. You get the next spot and you go, oh, there's another good hitter coming to the plate.
Yeah.
It's gonna take a good at bat, gonna make you work. Yeah.
So what I was thinking was that I heard a lot of, and correct me if you guys think I'm wrong, a lot of, oh, well, you beat such and such. They're not a good team.
Oh yeah, of course.
And
yeah.
let this be the example that like you don't take the wins against the quote unquote bad teams
No,
for granted.
for
Never.
sure.
There's always a team in the other dugout trying to score more runs than you. There's always someone facing an arbitration case this upcoming offseason.
Like,
always.
These are professional athletes with tons of pride.
We know the Rockies like are not going to probably be a playoff team. We know that.
Sure.
But like at the end of the day, those guys, like you said, are all still playing. In their mind, they're like, we're going to try and make the playoffs. They're not like, hey, we're going to win 60 games. So what does this game against the Mets matter? They're still going to play just as hard.
And like John said, everyone's working for money at the end of the day.
Especially these young guys.
Arbitration is incredibly scientific. Every single stat you accrue, every single moment of your professional baseball career is going to be used either for you or against you in a case against your team to get you literally hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars during years 1, 2, and 3 of arbitration.
That was the big discourse when Yerman Mercedes was hitting those home runs
Yeah.
like in the big game, and Tony La Russa sat him. And it's like, dude, you're messing with that guy's money. Like,
Yeah.
who cares if you hit a home run and you're up 10?
Yeah, you
this
need
guy's
that.
he needs to get paid. Like this stuff
Take
is
the food
important
out
to
of his
those
mouth.
guys. It may not feel like an important game to us as the fans, but to all the guys playing, it's very important every game.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
It's
also
literally their job.
briefly, we should just we're all zoomed out right now. I just also want to talk about Kodai. And, like,
Yeah,
tell
let's
them
talk
we
about
get a little
Kodai because
bit.
he was good.
There was stuff to talk about there. Kodai pitched after a nice little long layoff, and he did look good coming back. 2 walks in the first inning was a little shaky. Command's been whatever all year, and also you don't pitch for over a full week, and that's going to happen
Yeah.
again. But like he didn't allow an extra base hit like the entire game. Barely any balls even left the infield after the first couple innings. Like it was really good. A lot of pop outs, a couple slow grounders. Again, we said it before, the first Met to complete 6 innings twice this year.
Just huge. I would not have
Huge
guessed.
moment for us.
I would not have guessed it would have been Kodai Senga to be that guy,
No.
honestly, and not because of his talent, just because we had
by
other guys too.
happenstance,
Yeah.
He touched 100 miles an hour first time in his career too,
That's
which
sick.
was pretty cool to see on the board, the triple digits. And
Came out to Tokyo Drift. I couldn't
Yeah,
believe that was his walkout.
that was nuts, yeah.
Electric.
clarified that with DJ Reyes. That was pretty amazing that he came out to that song. Ridiculous. We were talking about that for a while, but big adjustment for him this game. We've talked about the fact that Kodai hasn't really lived in the zone as much as a starting pitcher ready to take that next step would so far. And he threw his cutter in the zone a lot on Friday night. He has been throwing some pitches in the zone about 60% of the time, a few times this game. Cutter's been one of those, but that one was, again, really high for him. First time did it since last start. 15 swings on it, just 1 whiff and only 3 called strikes, but There were 9 balls put in play against that pitch, and 7 of them, based on expected batting average, were completely there were balls that are very unlikely to get hit. John's laughing because I was talking about expected.
That's why you don't like expected batting average.
I don't love it, but that's the only way it could show what this Kodai batted balls with it. I
That's
don't like
funny.
That was
That's
good.
funny.
That was good.
I'll say it because, even just to pull it back, we're talking about the estimate for next series, and one of the things we like most about the estimate is you guys can follow along while we do it. The original estimate we were going to do was balls that were hit with expected batting averages under 100. It's just hard to follow along.
I don't want you.
Go on Baseball Savant. It's easy. I'll tell the
listen.
listeners right where they go to find it.
I don't think it's necessarily a bad idea. Like I like where your head's at. But yeah, it is. I don't think like the majority of people who are watching this podcast or listen to us probably have Baseball Savant open while watching the game like us as well.
Yeah, I'm just doing this as a way to break down Kodai Senga, the fact he was getting bad contact on that cutter based on
He was throwing hard. He was throwing hard.
Based on 7
Friday
of the
night.
9 batted balls against that cutter having expected batting average 250 or below.
No, he looked great. He looked
Yeah.
awesome, and that's I don't know. People are gonna hate me too, but like that's cool to see.
No, this is cool. And his quotes after the game were great. He was like, "We've been catching too many else. I don't want to catch any more else."
Which is also hilarious.
No, and he went out. He was like, there's not going to be me."
Yeah.
Which is great.
Respect that. Like, love that.
Respect the hell out of it.
When we had his press conference when we were here, remember we were like, "Oh, this dude's a beast. This dude's a dog."
Kodai, if anything else, if nothing else, he gets it. When he made that like cool play when he got the out at first
Yes.
base and he like went down the squat and he picked it up and he was like, "Yeah," like
he was pumped.
He was feeling it. Also, he hadn't played baseball in like a week.
Yeah.
Like, he was excited to go out there and play, and that was a good moment on Friday night. We won that game. That was fun at the time.
Yeah, thank God for Brandon Nimmo jumping on that first pitch fastball again, which he loves to do in the second time in the order. Loves to jump on the first pitch. Hit it to right field, which was nice. One of the few home runs that were hit by the Mets this weekend. Daniel Vogelback got one in Game 3, which was nice.
And was that it?
I think that might have been it. Yeah.
It was just 2 home runs, right, guys?
Yep.
Johnny
Cool.
Stats.
Johnny Stats with the stat. Oh my god.
Dude, I mean, we're not gonna go we're trying to be a little more loose in how
Yeah.
we're doing these episodes, especially the ones where there's a lot of losses involved.
Yeah.
We don't need to, rehash everything that
Yeah.
happened. Like Game 2 especially.
The only thing I really want to say is that's probably the best I thought Tyler McGill's slider looked all year.
That's fair.
You also see more comfortable. He threw it almost 40% in time, which is his highest rate of sliders the whole season, and it looked fine. But there's another one of those really laborious outings for Tyler McGill where he's just grinding inning after inning, and it's like there's guys on base, they're not swinging and missing. They're swinging and missing a little more in the start than usual, but it's just like I don't know. When Tyler McGill came up, it seemed like easy at times, and now maybe it's just I don't know. The book is here, and he's got to adjust
Combination.
back. Yeah, it's just I don't know. It hasn't been easy.
No, there's not been a lot of easy so far this year for the Mets.
No, it really has been easy.
Wish there would be.
I know.
I'd love some easy games. I miss easy games.
And also, we're seeing it feels like maybe, there's, some guys, the confidence. We've talked a lot. We haven't talked much about Starling Marte, but he really struggled this year. And the lineup did seem to move a little better when he wasn't in the 2-hole on Sunday. But one of the weirdest things that I saw happen this whole series was that I think it was the 3rd or 4th inning, Austin Gomber's on the mound. And while he has been okay recently, his ERA is 7, and he's a lefty. And Starling Marte comes up after Álvarez and Nimmo got back-to-back singles. And the first pitch, he's bunting.
Yeah.
We don't know if that's a Starling Marte decision, if that's a coaching decision, but it's so, to me, in a situation where you're early in a game, you're facing a guy who's a lefty, you're a righty. Traditionally, Starling Marte is good against all pitchers, but again, a lefty with a 7 ERA, as a righty, neutral setting right there, you have somewhat of the advantage.
And I want Starling Marte confident to the point where he's like, I want to swing.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, Starling, and also it's early in a game. 1 run in the 3rd inning of a baseball game doesn't really do that much for you in a game that you want to really try and win.
As we found out today.
Yeah, the goal is to score as many runs as possible to win the game. So just to give up an out that early when you're in the 2 spot in the lineup is let's go out there and hit. Let's go feel good. Let's go take a crack.
Yeah. No, definitely.
I don't know. I didn't like that one.
Definitely prefer when Starling's more aggressive.
Yeah.
I mean, and I get it. He's been struggling this year. I think there's no doubt that his performance has not been matching what it was last year. And maybe that's, with this new lineup that's coming out, maybe he moves down a little bit because the lineup did work pretty nice today.
It did, yeah. No, it was Fiscal Lindor keeps as much as the hits aren't really dropping for him right now, and the power has been touch and go. It's really just really no singles, which is also weird for Fiscal Lindor.
Bizarre.
Still just taking lots of pitches, having good at bats. The on base percentage is still up over 320, which for his average down by 220, that's pretty phenomenal. So just him being that 2-hole taking pitches. Jeff McNeil keeps hitting.
Really love McNeil in the 3-hole.
Yeah.
I think I like him probably better in the 2-hole, honestly. But in the 3-hole, when those guys get on base and Jeff McNeil puts the ball in play like he does, it brings in runs.
It's also the same with Brett Baty, who just all the guy does is go show up to the ballpark, put on his uniform, and hit the
mash.
Hit baseballs really hard.
No, Baty absolutely mashes, and he had a bunch of good hits today. Runs the bases well. It's just a good baseball player,
so much.
man.
He's so awesome. Our friend Brett.
Our friend Brett. Yeah, I've said that on the podcast, right? He said I had nice shoes.
Yeah, he did say
And then he went out and bought them.
Yeah, and then he remembered.
Wait, you're the one that set the shoe example? Because I noticed you guys had the same shoes.
Yes. No.
Yeah,
It was
no.
The gray ones, the gray Nike.
when we were at spring training and we were
Picture
told
day.
to keep everybody busy, which is also a hilarious job for me and James as massive Mets fans. But hey, talk to the Mets players while they're
guys.
waiting online and
How
keep
you
them
doing?
busy.
Yeah.
Brett Baty saw us and he was like, "Hey, what's up, Mark and James?" He started the conversation, which is cool. And then he was like, "Oh, dude, I love your shoes, man." And I was like, "Oh yeah." He's like, "Huh." And then the next day, I think he had them on, and I was like, "Man, he got those quick. You know, somebody who can get him some Nike shoes at a given moment."
And he called out something we actually talked about in the interview in 2021 we did with him. He was like,
Yes.
James, Garrett Wilson looked amazing this year. I was like, he really did. And shout out Garrett Wilson for being a really good friend of Brett Baty, because every single time that Brett gets a big hit, Garrett Wilson tweets it out.
He's on it.
He's like, Brett Baty's on it. Brett Baty's on it. We love my boy Brett.
And Baty looks like he's just going to be a Jets fan as well, because I've seen some pictures of him rocking the Jets stuff.
We're
so
ready for the collab podcast. Me, Mark, Brett Baty, Garrett Wilson.
Let's get it done.
I will ascend. But also, like, I'm going to talk about Lindor before today. He had 3 hard balls today and didn't get 1 hit to show for it.
Baseball's a tough sport, man.
It's so annoying.
It's not a fair sport sometimes.
Damn. Oh, God, it's really annoying. Even like that crazy double by Francisco Álvarez wasn't technically a hard hit ball, and that was smoked off the wall.
Yeah, it was smoked. And if we're going to, I guess this will be like the last player we talk about here, maybe before we start talking estimate and the next series preview. But Álvarez has been playing really, really well. I don't have the exact numbers, but I think over the last 2 weeks, weirdly, when the Mets have been struggling, Álvarez is hitting like 270. His strikeout rate's down to like the low 20s, which is exactly kind of where it was in the minors. He's been hitting the whole ball better. He's 96th percentile in framing, which framing is like a fake stat, but that's great to see for someone who definitely, like a lot of people were saying, the catching was the big issue for him. Things are starting to come together for him now. He looks more comfortable every single day. And James, how old is Francisco Álvarez?
You should also know Francisco Álvarez is 21 years old. He's the youngest catcher to get regular playing time in 30 years.
Since who?
Pudge Rodriguez.
That was pretty good, too.
And also since the beginning of the Atlanta series, Francisco Álvarez has struck out and walked the exact same amount of times.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, 7% on each.
Looks really, really wow, 7%?
But it's only 6 games.
That's like a great 6 games though for a 21-year-old in the majors who's also catching.
Freakishly good.
Yeah. All right,
Bigger
Francisco.
sample than that, the last 11 games, 848 OPS.
That's fantastic.
What's the strikeout and walk numbers?
8 Ks, 3 walks. Not terrible at all.
No, it's
No.
actually really good.
8 strikeouts and 30 plate appearances.
And again, we should reiterate, he's the youngest catcher to get regular playing time in the major leagues in 30 years.
Since the 90s,
And he looks pretty good defensively.
when John was born,
Yeah.
1960.
Yeah, this is Pudge Rodriguez. Pudge Rodriguez was a rookie when John was about 14 years old. So, yeah, that's kind of meaningful.
I remember him very well.
Yeah, exactly. But, yeah, the fact, as comfortable as he's looked on both sides of the ball is pretty unbelievable. Still, I probably think the one thing that maybe made the scouts say he's not that good of a defender is that he's still, like, he's not, like, super agile to, like, block pitches.
Well,
that's the one thing you could say.
They definitely, the way that they have him catching, and I think this is to get better framing, is they have him with that leg on the ground, and you just cannot move as much when your leg is on the ground.
Yeah.
That's the thing that Carlos Ruiz did with the Phillies. He was like one of the first guys.
For sure.
And you give up blocking, but think about how many times in a game you actually have to make like an important block.
A few times.
Not that many.
Yeah, no, it probably depends also on the pitcher, the situation.
Yeah.
And he hasn't caught Kodai yet, and Kodai, the ghost fork, is probably it's one of the, we talked about before, literally one of the most unique pitches in baseball by movement, spin, and velocity. So maybe just keep him off that one. But the far as framing, like, he's been an amazing
great.
framer. Like, watching him on TV is kind of a joy because he just pops that glove right where it's got to go every time.
Quick little hands,
Bring it
quick
in.
little wrists.
Yeah. And he moves like crazily well for how kind of like funny looking he is.
Yeah. Granted, he hit the ball off the wall, but he hustled for that double.
Oh, he was moving.
If he was hot dogging it, he's out.
Yeah, did you think Francisco Álvarez have 2 pinch running attempts by this point in the season?
No, I did not.
And be one of the better framers in baseball by earned strikes?
That's not where I thought we were going with that. No.
No, it's crazy. And like again, shout out him and Baty because what they've done, they have in a way really transformed this lineup.
Yep.
And they have totally changed the bottom line. That's why again, I'll reiterate, I'll put James Chiano stamp approval on the podcast.
Whoa.
I'm not worried about the lineup.
Okay.
I'm really not. The pitching something that needs to improve. I'm really not worried about the lineup. This lineup can make as much noise as needs to be made.
No, I mean, listen, we'll see how they play in Cincinnati, which is a great way to mix into the estimate here because I lost the last one really close down to the wire. We had the average game time. Game 1 was what, 210?
210.
Game 2 was 238.
Yeah.
And game 3 was 306, right, John?
Yeah, and I'm looking, I did some math here. This is literally right in the middle. So, like you said, 210, 238, 306, and the average was 238. So
Oh my God.
So
Wow.
that was like the middle point between
That's
the two
insane.
end of the spectrum times.
What are the odds?
This was a good one. I honestly, going into the last episode, had zero clue where to go. I was fishing around, and I saw that the Mets had played some long games. Then that game in Detroit kind of skewed that a lot.
Yeah.
And Mark, you said this, and I just looked to confirm, and it's correct. The Rockies had not played a 3-hour game at all this year.
Wow.
Before today.
Yeah.
Today's game 306, the second longest game for the Mets this year. The The first one being that 17 walk performance by, was it Caprillion that started that game?
Yeah,
for
James
Oakland?
Caprillion.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
Yep.
I didn't watch that game.
He didn't miss much.
Yeah,
a lot of
no,
walks.
A lot of walks.
Late
There were a lot of
Friday
walks
night.
today.
Yeah.
A lot of walks today.
Yeah, there was.
A lot of walks.
Yeah, so a good one. So now James leads 5-4.
Yep.
Always fun to see a nice, close, tight race. We still don't have a punishment for the first
I
half.
think-
do
I
we?
think
We're really leaning
Full- full
towards full kit.
Can we say that? Is that
No.
bleeped?
Probably can't.
I probably can't say that word. The last one you said.
Well, Vito could beep it.
People know the full kit. Beep. People get it.
And we want to get cleats. Click clack at the cleats on the
yeah.
pavement. Yeah. So probably
I
be
black too.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I black maybe. I don't know. I don't know where I
No,
black.
well, we're doing the full thing.
I don't want to look where I black.
Why?
I don't want to mess my skin.
Mess up your skin.
Yeah, I don't want to break out.
Just wash
You're
your
not
face.
gonna break out.
I don't know.
What do you got? A little baby
That's
skin?
not a breakout place. Under your eyes, you don't break out there.
All right, sorry, Johnny skin expert. I guess I don't know.
That's right. I went to the dermatologist recently.
Johnny Makeup.
Johnny
Everyone should
Olay.
go.
Johnny
Everyone should-
L'Oreal.
Everyone should go. Anyway,
Oh,
all right.
man.
Okay. So Mets going to Cincinnati. Great American Ballpark. By the way, you guys ever been there before?
I have not.
twice. Yeah.
What are your reviews? I've been there too. But
I don't think it's really that bad in terms of like what a lot of Midwest stadiums are like. I do like the area around it a good bit. Like the fact they just do that thing that a lot of like those other American cities have, where it's like, oh, here's our sports arena and here are 12 bars.
Yep.
That's kind of fun. But as the ballpark itself, it definitely isn't like it's not turning your head.
Okay. What about you, Mark?
I don't know. I forgot the question.
Fan of a Great American Ballpark?
Never
or not?
been. I've never been.
You've
That's
never
why I
been
forgot
there.
it. I blocked it out because I was like, I've never been there, so I have nothing to add.
right.
No.
Kind of a self-righteous name. That's not
Yeah.
a company, is it?
I believe it's a bank.
It's got to be a bank.
Oh, is it?
I believe so.
Great.
If it's not, that's
self-righteous
really-
bank name.
You know what else would be? You know what else would be crazy? I'm gonna look up right now if this is actually the name of a bank or something. But for a team that kind of cries poor a lot, you gotta get a sponsor in the stadium.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
the easy way to make some money.
Yeah, that's a good point.
To really get
it
an influx.
It would be a little ridiculous to not actually have sold it.
Yeah.
I saw the Mets play there in 2013. The Mets ruined the Reds' season. The Reds were on their way to the NL Central title. The Mets
Yes.
took 2 of 3 from them, forced them into the wild card game, and that's when Cueto allowed the 2 homers, Russell Martin and I think Marlon Byrd
Wow.
in the one game, in the wild card game in Pittsburgh. And I think that was it for Dusty.
And we, of course, always have 2015 where we clinched in
right.
Cincinnati. Matt
That's right.
Harvey on the
Tears of
mound,
joy.
which is also, I guess, a little full circle moment because Matt Harvey retired from baseball, yesterday?
2 days
Saturday?
ago. Yeah, Friday it was.
Friday. Matt Harvey is
Great
done.
American Insurance.
Oh, not a bank.
That's almost like you can't trust that.
No.
Yeah, Great American Insurance. You're really that's the oversell. It's a classic oversell.
Yeah, it's not one of the big names that I've heard of. So.
Insurance companies aren't on too many parks. It's usually banks. I mean, Loan Depot's a mortgage.
You have
interest.
the Brewers. The Brewers are Great American Family Insurance or something like that, aren't they?
American Life or something like that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
miss
Good one.
Miller.
Guaranteed rate
Miller's
field.
good.
Yeah, with the arrow pointing down.
Yeah, it's a bad field.
That's a rough logo.
Awful name, too.
Well, it
good.
kind of fits.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What's the estimate, John?
All right, the estimate. So we're not doing expected batting average. Way too dense.
a little too meta.
Well, way too meta, whatever that means. So the last 7 games that the Mets and Reds have played at Great American Ballpark have seen over 10 runs combined between the two teams. If you remember Robert Stock, I think tore his ACL running out of ball when
Yeah.
pitchers still hit and pitch clocks weren't a thing in 2021.
Whoa, Robert Stock.
Those
Robert
were
Stock.
some games.
Team
that
Israel.
series.
Team Israel standout. That's right. Dominic Smith hit a homer there. So this is where
JD too.
Say it, John. Say it.
What the expected batting average?
No, drop your stat.
Oh, okay. So Dom Smith homered on July 21st, 2021, on a ball that had an expected batting average of .010, I guess .10, whatever. And that ball got out because Great American Ballpark is where outs become extra base hits. And I think Yorme had a grand slam in that game too. Well,
Maybe.
no, Yorme
Kevin
hit a
Pillar
solo
did.
shot. Dom's was a grand
Pillar.
slam.
Pilar. It wasn't like a 9th inning pinch hit Pilar or something.
Yeah, I think so.
Someone pinch hit.
You already
late.
made a lot of errors that game. I
He
remember.
did. That was
That was weird.
People
That was
thought
the
Yorme
night
a
game,
bad
right?
fielder
Didn't
for 2
Vladimir
years.
Gutierrez pitch that game
Yeah,
for
he
the
did.
Reds?
And he has, doesn't he have the
Spider tattoo right
his
here.
ass.
Yeah, and he has no stuff.
Zero stuff.
Stuffless.
Are we facing him? That'd be great.
No, I don't think he's even. I think he might have got arm surgery or something.
Ah, sorry.
But anyway, so
What's the estimate?
a lot of runs at Great American Ballpark. So how many combined runs will be scored by the Mets and the Reds in this 3-game series?
Is Connor Overton pitching? That would change a
No.
lot.
Graham Ashcraft pitched today. And
I'll
he
give
did
you,
not
I'll give
pitch
you the
well.
pitching matchups
Yeah,
right
give me
now
the
if you
pitching
want. I
matchups,
think this
too.
does cue the estimate because both teams are basically throwing their best.
Okay.
Mets are going to have Max Scherzer on Tuesday, 6:40 again, 6:40 start time. Everyone be aware versus Luke Weaver.
Okay. I like
Coming
to hear
back
that
to the
name.
league. He's getting a lot of swings and misses, but also giving up a lot of loud contact. Wednesday, also 6:40. This is the matchup. You guys want to circle game to watch this series. Justin Verlander versus Hunter Green.
Ooh.
Hunter Green, we saw him last year. He just throws gas with a crazy slider. He's one of the freakiest pitchers in baseball. And Thursday, matinee, 12:35 Eastern. Kodai Senga versus Nick Lodolo.
Man.
Lodolo got us last year, but he hasn't been as good this year.
I had my fingers crossed for Luis Sessa.
No,
Really was
yeah,
hoping.
we got their two best pitchers. So
Yeah.
good for the Mets.
Always fun.
When it rains, it pours.
All right, so we got to come up with the total runs in this game,
So
right?
yeah, 3 games, 2 teams.
Where's my whiteboard? Why you got your own whiteboard?
I failed again.
John.
Yeah, I have 2
got
whiteboards
2 jobs.
upstairs. I have 2 whiteboards upstairs, and I brought neither down. By the way, it was a Dom Smith grand slam against Jeff Hoffman. I needed
There
to
you go.
redeem
Jeff
myself.
Hoffman. I just want to make sure this number makes sense. Yeah, I don't like that actually.
I'm kind of thinking now.
Change the
mine.
number.
All right.
Okay. I got mine.
I'm just gonna stick with mine.
Bang. All right, ready?
Yeah.
It's on a cup, so you're not going to be able to see it, but 3, 2, 1.
Ooh.
26.
I said 36.
Whoa, I
Yeah.
feel I keep going low. What's
Yeah.
happening?
Wow. So we do have a middle spot though now. Oh no,
Yeah.
we don't.
No,
It's
we
even.
do. Yeah.
It's an even difference.
Yeah, it's an
So
even
you do.
difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
I
All
always
right,
get
well,
that- I always get that confused for some reason.
you're not a numbers guy. You're a history man.
Yeah, I'm not a numbers
Yeah,
guy.
you're a written man.
Yeah.
All right, 26-36 for runs this series.
Yeah.
We already previewed the pitching matchups. In
Yeah.
terms of hitters to talk about on this team, Tyler Stevenson, he hasn't been playing well, but he's a good baseball player. He has
Yeah.
no home runs.
I don't think he has any home runs now.
What
For
happened?
some reason, the power's been kind of sapped a little bit. For him.
Interesting. Jonathan India's been playing very well this year.
He's gotten a little cold recently again. Nick Senzel just recently came off the IL and is actually playing the best baseball of
That's
his
your
career,
guy, yeah.
super sneakily. Like, it's not even my guy. I was just like, I can't believe someone who's like this strong and this athletic isn't good at
There's
baseball.
a lot of guys on this Reds
In
team
Great
though, that
American
like
Ballpark.
you've had little tabs on forever.
I have. Well, because first of all, fantasy baseball, you always want to seek the guys in the good ballparks because
Yeah.
ballparks are like so meaningful for like baseball stats over a full year. When you play 80 games in a bandbox, like you're gonna do well. Spencer Steer is a guy who I think is also pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
He's good plate discipline. He's pretty okay like hit tool, but power hasn't been as much there as I thought it would be. But might be coming back. They got Christian Encarnacion Strand just hitting so well in the minor leagues right now. We'll see.
I really
him
hope they
eventually.
don't call him up.
You'll probably miss him this series. They have Will Myers there, he's a name you'll know. Kevin Newman, who's just somehow, some way, is still playing professional baseball every single day.
Got to get 500 plate appearances again this year.
I genuinely can't believe it. Kevin Newman has over 1,700 plate appearances.
That's so many.
Yeah, I know, so many. While being a 76 WRC plus guy, so about 25% worse than league average. Over 1,700 plate appearances.
Their bullpen's actually been pretty good this year.
Yeah, I mean
That's interesting.
I mean, what they did with that team developmentally is kind of interesting. So it's probably a really good move for a team that doesn't have as much money as some of the others. They hired Kyle Baty to be their like director of pitching for the whole organization. He installed all of his tactics for like 3 years, and then they fired him.
Yeah.
So they have all of his tactics, and all the coaches know
got the dirt.
know the schemes, and now they got rid of the guy who cost the money who actually put it into place. So it's kind of annoying. It sucks for him. We're gonna see Alexis Diaz, brother of Edwin. That was the famous estimate from last year.
Yeah.
Infamous. Yeah, infamous. I don't know. What else can we say about this? We're gonna miss Joey Votto.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just we gotta win.
Yeah, we got to win.
Gotta beat this team.
That's pretty much it.
Verlander, Scherzer, and Senga are pitching. Those are your 3 best starting pitchers. Starting
Yep.
pitching's been an issue. This isn't really a great place to start and pitch or pitch in general, but if anyone's going to do it, hopefully it's those 3.
Hopefully it is those 3. And then we just have some random things to talk about as well, just in the Mets world. There are some cool things that have happened. Shout out to Luigi and David, who were both like kind of the kid in charge of like saying play ball or the lineup for the games this
Yeah.
week. So Luigi got us started on Friday
Brought the heat.
with a great play ball.
Yeah.
Fantastic play ball. And you just don't find a lot of kids named Luigi. It's not a
No,
popular
there's not
name.
that many
and I
Luigis
respect
around
it because
anymore.
it's a great name. Luigi's an awesome name. Shout Italians. And then David, not Steve, David, he did the lineup for game number 3.
Yeah.
And he gave a killer lineup introduction,
Amazing.
especially with Joey Lucchese.
Yeah, he really
was-
channeled like the MSGPA. He was amazing.
And John, I believe, has a story with David.
So the way it works is I say the line, now batting or whatever, and they repeat it back. And I gave him away. He was like, no, I'm not going to do it like that. I was like, all right, man, rock and roll, no problem.
that's
And
cool.
you know what? He was better than I would have done it. So
Dude, he crushed it.
And there was one part where I like to do everything for safety 2 times.
Yeah, of course.
Always give your editors a lot of juice to work with. So I said, let's do it another time. Uniform, it's not that he messed up at all. And he told me, nope, that one was good. I was like, I'm gonna zip my lip.
I like this kid. I like this kid.
We gotta get Steve.
David.
We gotta get David on the show.
David, I like it, Dave. He's calling shots.
Yeah.
He gets to do the lineup. He's like, you asked me to do it. I didn't ask you for your help.
Also, a couple of housekeeping things. We were at the game on Friday, and I met up with some people I used to work with right with the Pitcher List, great baseball blog. Everyone should check him out. And there was a PL Plus member there, Mike. And Mike grabbed Mark, looked at him in the face, and said, hey, you look a lot like Jeff Wilpon. And we never heard that ever in our life.
Never,
and
not once.
it was pretty unbelievable and shocking. And now I very much see it.
So Vito's going to put up a picture of Jeff Wilpon. We're both going to scowl, I believe, is what we said. And I don't really know how to scowl, so I'm just going to be straight faced. But Vito put up the pictures here, and you guys can let us know at home if me and Jeff Wilpon look similar.
Similar haircut.
Similar
Yeah.
haircut.
Similar haircut.
I think similar
Yeah.
face shape too.
I could get behind the
Ovular.
face shape. Yeah, very ovular.
Yeah,
for
and,
sure.
Carbon copy has been a pretty good thing you guys have done with the scoreboard this year.
Yeah.
The booths, people do like it. So just get some. Now we got a carbon copy of Mark. We gotta find one for me.
Yeah, we got to find one for you for sure.
Besides Wolverine. Like,
I got one.
Yeah, that guy's called me that in the YouTube comments more than a few times. More so last year when I was like a little bushier.
Yep.
But yeah.
Bartolo was at the stadium today, which was really cool. We got to meet him, which was also very cool.
Yeah, very nice to meet Bartolo.
Shout out Bartolo Colon. It's obviously the anniversary of when he hit probably the most unlikely home run in Major League Baseball history.
His fabled home run.
Yeah.
7 years ago.
Crushed it.
7 years ago, May 7th.
Crushed it. So shout out Bartolo. And then we have to give a shout out to friend of the podcast, Matt, the Steamroller Frivola, absolutely dominating Drew Dober on UFC 287, 288 Saturday night. He was money. He was phenomenal. First round knockout.
Steamroller.
Never a doubt in our mind.
No.
We saw him coming in. We're like, oh, this dude's locked in.
Yeah, he
This
was.
guy is in the zone.
We talked to him when he was training too, and he was locked in.
So that's a little plug too. If you guys have not seen the interview, he's more famous now because he won too. He got performance of the night.
I mean, check out their reels and TikToks. They've been doing really well since you won too.
Yeah, so
you noticed that, yeah.
Winning is always great for numbers.
The
We
Mount
know
Rushmore is
that.
going like this.
Yes, people are loving it. So shout out to Vito for making those. Shout out to Matt Frivola.
Legend.
Let's get you back on at some point too. Now that you've won, and
And
maybe
also,
you can,
now he's not training anymore. Come back to City Field. Let's actually have some fun.
yeah, come hang out. Let's
Yeah.
have some fun. Let's eat some food and.
He said he wanted sausage and peppers, but he couldn't because he was training.
Yeah, he did say. Did you see? This is the last thing I'll say. Did you see on his Instagram after he weighed in? So he got weighed in. He hit his weight. He just immediately started stuffing his face
That's
with as
awesome.
much food as he physically can.
That was the power. That was the win.
That's what it was. So Matt Frivola, nice
And
win.
I think
We
he
love it.
had performance of the night. in
Yes,
UFC,
he
yeah.
did have performance
With a
of
nice
the night.
bonus there.
Definitely a nice bonus. But that's pretty much it for this episode.
I think there's one more thing we should talk about.
Oh, go for it.
Over the weekend, Matt Harvey did retire.
Oh, I said
There
it
was a
earlier.
thing. Oh, you said that?
Yeah, I said it earlier.
I didn't hear you say that.
Yeah, you blanked
But-
out. It's all
Yeah,
right.
I did blank out. I was just
And we're playing the Reds too. Wow.
Yeah, wow. Two
Devin
legends for Matt Harvey.
Mesorasko, baby.
Yeah,
Devin
and I
Mesoraco.
will say, it did feel like on Friday night there were a few more Matt Harvey jerseys in the ballpark than usual.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. So
it's still really hard to probably analyze or assess Matt Harvey's time with the Mets, but
bittersweet.
yeah, so bittersweet.
So
Favorite word in
bittersweet.
this podcast.
Knicks
Bittersweet.
winning on Monday?
Yes.
Yes,
no
have
doubt.
to. Have to win. Have
But
to
are
win
they?
Monday.
I didn't ask
a
if they have
must
to. I know they have to.
Look, the Heat played so well and the Knicks played so poorly that I think the law of average is just going to even out, and you got to attack Jimmy Butler. The guy's like
guy can't
limping
even
like
move.
crazy, and somehow
I mean-
they still don't keep attacking him.
And I can't stand Max Strus. I'm so done with Max Strus.
Yeah, and Duncan Robinson, and I hate the Heat.
At least Duncan Robinson has like a really obvious like thing he does well.
well,
he hits
Strus is a
threes.
3-point shooter too.
Kind of, but Strus is off the dribble right now. He's playing defense. I can't stand that guy. I want to put him on his back.
Need something to go right in New York right now.
Yeah,
Hopefully
when
the
they,
Knicks,
they lift the city.
Knicks big win on Monday, push the Mets into a good series with the Reds. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching this episode of the Mets'd Up podcast. Make sure you follow us on all our social media at Mets'd Up on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. If you're looking for the YouTube video, go to the New York Mets YouTube channel. Go subscribe over there. You can watch it. And if you're listening to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Odyssey, drop us a rating, drop us a review, download, and subscribe. We do have a review to quickly shout out here. This comes from Brad, SD Met fan, which I assume stands for San Diego. Maybe it's South Dakota. I don't know. Just discovered you guys. Love it all. Interviewing has been great. Love the details of pitcher breakdowns. Great job, gents, from an out-of-town Mets fan. So shout out, Brad.
We also got the
appreciate
roast
ya.
underneath it. Kind of funny.
Yeah, well, we'll save that for next one.
Okay,
Excellent,
yeah,
'cause
yeah.
we can't do too many, and we're getting along here. So
We have had some good reviews. We have seen them. We are going to say them, but these series haven't been that good. So like with the positivity is like
yeah. So we'll get you guys when we get there. Thank you so much for listening and watching. We'll catch you on the next episode of the Messed Up Podcast. Peace out.
Peace out. See you guys next time.